Welcome back to our new series where we're going to be talking to seasoned agents, new agents, and coming soon agents. There you are. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? Where are you? Where are you at as far as like your real estate license?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Viviana Zamora. I'm 29 years old, mom of two. I'm pretty close. I've done the fingerprinting. I've actually finished all of the
classes,
and I just need to go ahead and take the actual test.
How comfortable do you feel?
I'm kind of nervous.
Well,
I'm a good test taker. And then I overthink it. And then I'm like, okay, well, did they mean it like this? The wording, I'm so like critical on the wording. So I'm like, okay, no, I know this. I know this.
Right.
So I do get like the anxiety before the test and
test taking anxiety is very common.
After it, like, I knew that. Why did I not? Yeah. So
one tip that I can tell you is, did you sign up for the pre-test?
Yeah, so I'm actually in the works of doing it. It's just my kids right now. My son is autistic, so we've been trying to get him back into speech therapy, but thanks to COVID, making everything so much easier. Yeah. Prolonged everything. So my schedule revolves around their schedule. So I'm trying to prioritize everything and make it work. It's just a little tricky.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I did whenever I went to go take my test is I took those pre-tests over and over again, because you can take them as many times as you want. I took them until I got 100. And I know that sounds almost impossible sometimes because you're but I just kept taking them and then I think there was like 5 different pre-tests that you could take. But I don't know if your program does that or if they just have a pre-test and then it just changes every time you take it. But I just kept taking that until I felt comfortable and I got 100 on it. And then I went and took my exam pretty much right away, because a lot of the information that you're learning right now is not going to be something that you're going to use on the job, of course, I mean, so a lot of that information, you just have to pump it in and then you can dump it out afterwards. I just call it a pump and dump.
I learned that a little bit because of my first semester in this class. I went in as an intern and I started seeing it and I was like, oh, this is different. So it's book work and then it's like the real world. So
what do you do in the real world?
So I started noticing my mentor, she was really good about helping me kind of I think the transition between like the book work and the transition is actually communicating and more about making relationships with your potential clients and making them feel comfortable, and if you feel comfortable as well, because they make in the book real estate, it's kind of like whoever's coming to you, you got to work with them. You got to figure out how you have to mold yourself into them. And it's like in the real world, it's like sometimes relationships don't click as well. And
it's okay. Yeah, you don't have to feel bad about losing a client sometimes, because I mean, sometimes you can't help somebody. Sometimes you'll find that what they want is totally unrealistic and you just can't find that. And so, it is what it is. We can't really pick and choose too much. Well, you can pick and choose with your clients, but it's good to be able to walk away and not feel bad about it.
Yeah, and then it was good to see the way a functional relationship between your client. I'm sorry, guys.
No, that's fine.
One thing. I'm sorry. So yeah, a functional relationship between your clients in the real world, and how you
So
connect.
you work in real estate already? You already work for a real estate company?
So actually, I signed a contract with Keller Williams in Southwest. Of course, I haven't started
Until you get your license, yeah.
Exactly, but I have been in the office and comfortable and getting a little bit of that real life experience with them and feeling actually really comfortable. It's nice to feel like your brokerage has your back, and they encourage you. And if you have any questions, I mean, I'm a newbie, of course, so I have questions.
Just keep in mind, you're never going to have a stupid question.
Yeah. And so
there really is no such thing as a stupid question.
Policy, because I can literally go to anybody that I'm comfortable or anybody that's around, and and they'll be there for me, and they understand because I am a parent. They're like, well, work around your schedule, and they're not so like demanding. They're like, hey, we understand life happens, and I had seen different brokerages where they were very like, you have to be here 9 to 5. You have to do, they were very
structured.
Yeah, very structured. And I was like, oh, I needed something a little bit more lenient.
Well, I mean, the reasoning behind that, though, and because we do have several, we do have several brokerages that are like that here in Wichita Falls as well. The reasoning behind that is that if you don't really dedicate, at the beginning, it's really important to get yourself into a good routine, because it's so easy to become lazy and build bad habits. So at the beginning, you want to really try and get good habits set in so that 5-10 years down the line, you're successful. And the reason why they want you there 9 to 5 is because they want you to succeed, because if you succeed, then they succeed. Yeah. But yeah, the pressure to do that sometimes can be a little bit unrealistic to certain types of people. Like for me, it was the same way. I was a single mom, 2 kids, and I had a regular job. I had a regular 9 to 5. So I needed that flexibility to be able to work whenever I wanted to, not to have, exactly office hours or be required to do a certain amount of cold calling. I mean, there's tons of stuff that different agencies will require you to do. Mm-hmm. So when you find a company like that, it's always good. But you have to make it work. You have to also put the time in, because if you don't put the time in, you're not going to be successful. And so 85% of real estate agents don't actually make it in this business, and primarily it's because they don't really set goals for themselves at the beginning, and they don't create good habits.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. So, and what area in Texas are you from?
Houston, Texas.
Houston. Oh, that's a fun place to do real estate right now.
It is. I mean, honestly, it's booming.
It's crazy. Yeah.
It's funny because, people find out that I'm in real estate and they're like, you must be exhausted. And I'm like, no, actually I'm new.
Yeah. Well, just wait till you take your exam.
When you have your license, because we're looking and I'm like, oh my God, I need to hurry up.
Yeah. And it's a lot of it. You have to keep working on your sphere of influence, because you seem like you could really be successful at this, but you just need to get that piece of paper that says that you got your real estate license, and then you can get up and go. Mm-hmm. That's exciting for you. Well, if we can ever help you out with anything, just we're going to be doing these meet and greets with newbies, and with me, hopefully we'll get some old timey agents to join us so that they can tell us some crazy stories.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be fun to hear.
Yeah. And then whenever you start getting your real estate license, you can tell us your crazy stories.
Oh my goodness. I'll be like,
guys. Well, Suresh, can you hear us?
Oh, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, I'm not sure the agenda of this call, but thing is, I applied for the, Texas real estate license. I live in Dallas, Texas.
Uh-huh.
So I'm still doing my course, so I haven't completed it. So sooner I'll be done and writing the state exam.
Uh-huh.
So
Well,
that's
that's
my
cool.
situation right now. Yeah.
How many did you not finish all your class? Did you say that you hadn't finished all the classes yet?
Yeah, out of 6 courses, I am doing 2 courses at a time. At the last 2 subjects, I'll complete by end of this month. I'll probably take a month to prepare, and probably end of February I'm targeting.
That's good. Well, like we were telling Viviana over here, one tip is to take those pre-tests. Taking that whenever you get done with the 6, did you sign up for the one that has pre-testing in it?
Pre-testing with whom?
With whatever company it is that you're doing your classes. Did the company that's teaching you the classes also offer you pre-tests?
No, my college doesn't offer the pre-test, but I try to explore the Champions School of Real Estate. So in Texas, I'm probably I'll take.
Okay, so yeah, if you go online, there's gonna be other companies, or even if you go to, oh gosh, what's the name of the company that does the exams? Starts with a P, and I've always forgotten it.
PSI or Pearson VUE?
No, like Purdue. Is it Purdue?
Purdue, I'm not sure. Champions School of Real Estate, they take even prep course as well as the tests.
They do the prep courses.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would recommend definitely doing your pre-exams and then pre-tests or whatever, because if you you can take those multiple times. You don't have to just take it once or twice. You take it multiple times to see when you're ready to actually take the exam. And I think that you only have to get a 70 or above in order to get your exam and pass your exam.
Yeah. Cool.
Any issues that you're having, or even you, Viviana, is there anything that you're struggling with or that you're confused about?
I think it was okay. So when I took the test, I know the contract has recently changed. So I'm trying to get comfortable with the new changes. I mean they're simple ones, but I'm still not comfortable like with them. And they've given me like examples, but it's kind of like what section was it? I forgot what section it was, but they had changed it. I think it was the wording, or it was the certain boxes that I had to check off.
They added number 4, which is where it says residential leases and commercial leases. And let me see. Let me pull up a contract here real quick on my computer. Let me see if I can pull it up. The biggest change that there is in the contract is the earnest money in the option period.
That I think it was the option period is where I was getting stuck, and I think it was because of the way I learned it. I was trying to go to what I had, and I was like, okay, no, I know that's not right. I know, yeah. So I was like, that's where I get stuck.
The time frames, is that what you're talking about?
The time frames where I kind of get like stuck.
Well, no matter which way you go, hang on just 1 second. Let me log in. The day that the one thing that's critical to remember is the day that you sign anything is the day 0. Just think of it as 0.
Okay.
So the next day would be day number 1. So for option period days, so you get an option period, and yet they have 10 days.
Okay.
the day that the executed contract is the day that is the contract is executed is day 0. So
Okay.
they have 10 days from that.
So so then the first day isn't the day that they
Execute it? No.
Exactly. It's the following day. So let's say if it's let's say they sign it today. So then the days start tomorrow.
Yes.
Oh, okay, that's where I was like.
Well, it says for nominal consideration, the receipt of which seller acknowledges and buyer agreement to pay the option fee within the time required, seller grants the buyer the unrestricted right to terminate the contract by giving notice of termination to seller within blank days after the effective date of this contract. So that's the key words right there. After the effective date.
Okay.
So
okay.
Give notice of termination to the seller within 10 days after the effective date of this contract. Notices under this paragraph must be given by 5 p.m. And that's crucial as well, 5 p.m. So on the day that the option period it terminates, you have to give them that amendment by 5 p.m.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's where I was kind of getting a little.
And that first day is day 0. So everything after that starts number 1, 2, 3, however many days. And the same thing with the effective, the same thing with the earnest money.
Mm-hmm.
So delivery of earnest money and option fee within 3 days after the effective date. So the day that is signed is always day 0.
Oh, okay.
The buyer must deliver to escrow company, huh?
I said that clears it up a lot for me.
Oh, okay.
Thank
There you go. No problem. Anything else that they don't really deal a lot with contracts in the actual classes, but I mean, obviously in real life, you're going to have to figure out how to, well, hopefully Keller Williams is going to give you training on the contract itself. And you can always, I've thought about actually starting like a podcast or something to where we talk about, we talk about contracts specifically.
Yeah, that would actually be really helpful.
Each paragraph broken down to its nuts and bolts.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Like, oh my God, I wish that would like
thing. I can. I actually, for my agents, I actually have a slideshow that breaks it down by section. Mm-hmm. I just haven't updated the slideshow since the changes of the contract yet. So I need to go through my slideshow and do some of those updates. Mm-hmm. But section 4 changed, and that's the leases. Mm-hmm. And people get confused about that. And the reason why that was added was because there's a lot of properties that people are selling that are commercial properties, and they're using the 1-to-4 contract.
Oh, okay.
So like if you have a single family home and and it's leased, it's your investment property.
Yeah.
And it's leased, you got to transfer those leases to the new buyer.
Yeah.
And so they added that little paragraph in there so that it can be used as a commercial contract for the 1-to-4 residential contracts. So they have.
Yeah, I did start seeing that at Keller Williams where they were having a lot of problems. It was right in the middle of the transition. So they were they were mentioning it a lot to the more seasoned agents, where they were like, oh, that makes it a lot easier for us. Like it makes sense that they changed that part for us. Like now it's a lot more helpful.
Yeah. And then especially here in the state of Texas, there's other things, like if you look on in leases 4A, that covers residential leases. B covers fixture leases, such as solar panels. And those you can get on homes now. You can lease solar panels, you can lease water softeners and security systems and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So that covers that. And then the natural resource leases covers mineral rights. So for instance, if you were selling or buying a big, huge ranch that has some sort of natural resource lease, then you would check that off. That one is going to be very rare.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to see that a lot. And even with the other one, the fixture leases, you're not going to really see that a lot. The only one that I've used so far is the residential leases.
Okay.
Because if the property that's being sold is a leased property, like it's a tenant occupied,
yeah,
then you would use that, and then you would go to the addendum for the residential leases and fill that out.
Oh, okay.
Have you with Keller Williams, do they use dotloop or do they use zip forms?
dotloop.
Okay. Well, I know that with dotloop you can do it too. You can set up a template in your dotloop account so that it has all of these forms that you're going to use for every transaction. And most transactions, you're going to have maybe a dozen forms that you could possibly use. In Houston, things might be a little bit more different than they are here in Wichita Falls, but we don't have a lot of, so for instance, we don't have a lot of HOAs here.
Yeah.
Down there in Houston area, you're going to have a lot of HOAs. Here, we don't have a lot of PUDs or MUDs either.
Oh, okay.
You might have some of those there.
I've seen a couple.
Yeah. And it gets confusing. It gets kind of complicated. So don't be afraid to ask you for some assistance on those. Well, I see Christine came back.
Yeah, I got dropped for some reason. I don't know what happened.
Oh, this is my Christine. She's my agent with Strategic Realty. You want to introduce yourself?
I did earlier, you turkey. Did you not hear me earlier? I
haven't heard you at all.
Yeah, I was talking earlier. You asked me how long I was with y'all. April will be a year, hon, that I've gotten my license. Well, end of April. One thing that I noticed suggesting taking the test is they like to trick you up. So they are going to ask you a question, give you 3 multiple choices. 2 of them are definitely the answer. 1 of them is definitely not the answer. The thing
Make
about
sure to
it
read the words very carefully.
the thing about
Look for
is,
nots.
Yeah.
If it says it's not.
Yeah. The thing about it is that, like I said, 1 question will be absolutely wrong and you know it's not right. There will be 2 questions that are definitely the right answer. It's just which one is the better of the right answer. My first time I took my test, I was so super nervous that I actually passed the harder one first, and then I missed the state one by 1 question. So I had to go retake the state one. But once I took them and I got used to actually doing it, I flew the second time taking the state one, no problem whatsoever. I think just my nerves got the worst of me on it.
You changed too many answers too.
Yeah. But a lot of it's very common sense kind of questions. It's just a matter of getting your nerves worked up.
I have your camera on, lady. We can't see you. No, we can't see you.
I don't know if you really want to see me right now anyway. Good God, woman, I'm like a hot mess. I don't know how to turn this on. I've never used this thing.
It's okay. Right now,
I'm just teasing you.
Oh, well, you might not want to look at me right anyway. Right now, I'm a hot mess. So, no, but every contract.
I'm hungry, so I'm snacking.
Is different. Every single one has been something, a learning experience. So it's good. It's very hands-on. I like that. Lou, she's like a little book of knowledge. So anytime that I've come to her, I've been like the Riddler, and I appreciate her because I've been nonstop questions. But yeah, right now I have 4 listings right now and 2 buyers that I'm working on, and hopefully 1 more sell if I could get this guy to work.
She's rocking and rolling, and she's only been a realtor in it for a year. She's already done 6 transactions. Some good ones.
Actually, the last 2, I had 2 in December. 1 I was a double agent for, so I was also the seller and the buyer's agent. And then I closed on the other one too, which I was the buyer's agent. Actually, I was just in the office on Friday, but I think I missed you by a couple of minutes. Somebody else was there. They left the lights on or whatever. But
Sorry.
I just had missed you or something, yeah, or somebody. But I do appreciate you, like, because I said I always go to her, like I said, like the Riddler. So I'm like, question,
When
question,
I
question,
drove
question.
I drove by your house on 7th Street, by the way, and
Yeah.
there's no rider on it. So do you not have any riders?
Yeah, I do have riders. I just
okay.
didn't put a rider on that one particular.
You might consider doing that. That way you might get more calls because it doesn't
Well-
feel like we're getting a lot of calls on it.
Well, don't forget, I take phones Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays. So
She's a busy girl.
I have been getting actually a lot. Actually, I had some guy recently send me a contract through my personal email, and I was like, how did you even get that? So I'm thinking it was really, yeah, it was weird. And I'm thinking it's because when I first
It might be
signed
on
up-
the NAR or the
Yeah,
TAR
I think it's
website.
I think it's with Trek, because when I first signed up for Trek, I didn't have my work email yet. So I think that's how he got it.
Mm.
I have learned that it is really difficult to sell a house that is in redemption period. That's been fun this week. Other than that, it's been pretty busy. So you definitely have to be a go-getter. Stuff is not handed to you. But I do
Hey,
like
I hand you stuff all the time.
like what, woman? Well, I do the phone, so I'm gonna count that.
Yeah.
But you do have to be a go-getter. You have to, definitely have some kind of goals for yourself. Usually I always try to do at least 2 closings of a month. Sometimes title companies might take a little longer, or banks take a little longer, but I always try to do a minimum of 2. Sometimes you might get 1 or none, and then you get 4 the next month. So it fluctuates, with the market, especially being in the wintertime and stuff, and holidays and all that. So, yeah.
And Christine has some transactions that she's working on right now that are a little bit unique. You don't usually see them very often. Tell us about those. Those are the redemption ones, right?
Yeah, so I've learned a lot with these ones. Some redemption periods are 6 months, some are 2 years. Sometimes the title companies will charge a little bit more for tax title property that you try to get a title policy for. Some of them don't even want to even touch it until 2 years.
Because you can't get a title policy for them. Well, explain to them what that even means, the redemption. Because I don't think they will know.
Yeah, so the original owner of the property has the rights to try to redeem or get back basically the property that they took, the city or the state or whatever took over. They have a 2-year
for taxes.
Period, to try to get that
for delinquent taxes.
Yeah.
It's called like a foreclosure, right?
Well,
So-
it's they would have done a foreclosure due to non-payment of taxes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes I mean they completely trashed the house. It's a hot mess, it's like,
so the house was sold at the court steps by
like
the
as
city,
is,
and the investor that purchased the property is now turning around and selling it. And you have to hold on to those properties that you get a sheriff's deed on for at least 2 years, because the previous owners that were delinquent on the taxes have 2 years to redeem, to buy back that property. If they come up with the taxes plus 15% interest, plus any updates that the owner has done to the property, if they come up with that money, they can get their house back. And
one thing that I am trying to work on with the one that's out in Holiday, is trying to possibly, the seller of it who has that property, he kind of sort of knows them. And I don't know if this is necessarily a good thing or bad thing, because it could be in the back of their mind that they don't want it. But he was also talking about trying to get a release of property, like a voluntary release of property sign.
a release of redemption period.
Yeah. So
you could.
If we could do that, it would be a lot easier, because he's had some offers on it, and one of them was like, well, I take it back. 2 of them were totally good about buying it, even though they couldn't get a title policy for it. But then they changed their mind, like they changed their underwear. So there goes that option. But that being said, I have noticed that every single one of my contracts that I've had so far has been different, and it's a good learning thing. So you have a buyer, you have a seller. well, the buyer's agent for this one had all these things that they had to do. And then it's definitely a learning experience, and it's good knowledge to have. I've always been kind of more a hands-on person to be able to learn something really well than if somebody's speaking it to my ear. But yeah, it's definitely, I love it. I should have done it years ago. I don't know why I waited so long, but.
And this summer we are going to rock and roll, right, Christine?
Well, hopefully I could get these four houses I have listed. I was supposed to close this other one back in December. I would have had 3 closings in December, but this other one, their bank was closed for 2 weeks, and then they asked for an extension. So Betty at Landmark, she's been really on them, so I appreciate her with that. And then I have another buyer that if I could get a hold of this agent that I've been trying to the last 4.5 hours. I was trying to go show today, but that's not going to be possible because it's occupied and she hasn't responded back, and it's already 7 o'clock. So if I could get her to actually respond back to me, I'll have a showing first thing in the morning about 8:30. So we'll see. Yeah.
All right, you guys. It is 7 o'clock. My Zoom is going to cut off in about 10 minutes because they don't like to give you more than 40 minutes per Zoom call.
Oh, well, it was nice meeting everybody. Heck yeah.
Likewise. It was nice.
We're gonna do this every week, Christine. So you can be our you can come and join us for a couple of seconds and meet our new Texas real estate agents all over the country. Huh?
Yeah, their ears must have been burning because that was the call center calling me right now.
All right. Well, you go ahead and get that.
All right, sweetie. Have a good night, you guys.
You too. Thanks for joining us.
Oh.
Well, everybody, thanks for joining us for a new, Suresh, for a new agent panel. And we hope to see you next week. And think of whatever it is that you guys want to talk about. If you have something that you're struggling with, or if you have something that you want to learn how to do, investment properties are kind of like my go-to properties. I'm the REO agent for Fannie Mae for the top 13 counties. So I've got a lot of foreclosure experience, and then dealing with commercial properties. And I mean, pretty much I don't think that there is a single transaction out there that I haven't done yet. Even farm and ranch, I've done a couple of farm and ranch, which is very rare. But so if there's something that you need help with, I'll post my. Let me see if I can do it here. I don't know. Chat. Let me click on this. I'm going to post my phone number on the chat room so that you guys can call me or text me if you need. No, wait, 257-38. And if you want to write that down, and if you guys want to put your phone numbers in there, I'll save your guys' numbers too. And then obviously you guys can join us next week. We have one on Wednesday, and then we also have this one on Sunday. I'm starting this for my daughter's in college now, so I'm bored and I don't have anything else to do other than real estate, huh?
I said, oh, thank God.
She left for college. She left again for college yesterday. So as soon as she's gone, I'm like, I'm doing this. I'm doing all these Zoom calls, because there's so much that we can teach each other, and we can all learn from each other about how to make this a successful transaction and a successful transition into the amazing world of real estate. I love it. I've been doing it for almost 12 years now, and I wouldn't give it up for the world. Oh my gosh, I can't find a pen that works. Good golly.
Okay.
2, 1. Oops.
Okay.
And Viviana, congratulations on getting all your classes done. And if we don't see each other before you go get your test, good luck. And I know you'll get it. I know you'll pass. I have that feeling. Don't change the answers. If you
that's So I actually took a practice test at my my college. Like so I took one, and I swear she was like, I didn't know which one you had picked because you kept like erasing, and I was like, I don't know, I want to pick both.
Read the questions carefully, and then
That's where it was.
don't
getting-
second guess yourself, because I guarantee you probably got it right.
Yeah, I'm like, dang it.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and hope you guys learned something and we were able to help you out with anything.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.